Hello Raiders and welcome to my Bastion. I am Ezron and this is the second video in my series on the Raid Shadow Legends Mercy system. I'll link the initial video below, but to get everyone caught up who hasn't seen it, I have been keeping track of all of my shard pulls for some time, and I can say with a high degree of confidence that it has been 200 ancient shards since I pulled my last legendary champion. Now, if we are right, and the Mercy system has actually been in the game for some time, that means it should start for me on my next shard pull, giving me increased chances of getting a legendary. There's also a school of thought that says the Mercy system didn't go live until patch 2.30, which happened at the end of October in 2020. If that's the case, I have pulled 52 ancient shards since I got my last legendary. Now, to make the tabulating and calculating a little bit simpler, I made a separate sheet that lets us track the champs that were pulled, the number of shards since my last legendary. It shows the increased chance of getting them. In columns C and D here, assume that the Mercy system has been in the game for some time. There's also columns F and G, which assume that the Mercy system has only been live since patch 2.30. If they started counting the counters sometime between that, I would have really no idea or way to see that, so I really can't handle that case. With that, I'm going to get started on pulling right about now. I have 132 ancient shards to pull, so my plan is to do 10 at a time. I will do my first 20, so 2 sets of 10, and then we'll stop and see if we learned anything based on that and whether or not I think the Mercy system has been in the game for longer than patch 2.30. Without saying anything else, here we go. First 10 pull. Now I'm writing this down on the computer next to me just to make it easier to watch. We'll see what we get. Wow! So second ancient shard gets us a legendary. Now I'm going to write down what I got and then we will do some very quick analysis. Yannicka, the second one, then Lich. I already have that. Sanctum Protector. A rare everyone has. Zolota is actually new to me, so that's a good pull right there. Questor, I already have. Diabolist, a farmable champion. Lamellar, I don't think I've ever used for anything. Madman, and then Judicator. So now looking back at the Mercy system sheet, let me get it to update from shared storage. Interesting. I'm going to pause and be right back. Hey everyone, I'm back and I updated the sheet to show what we currently know now. I will say I was a bit surprised to get Yannicka on the second shard that I pulled. And we will really never know, did I just get lucky or was I in the Mercy system? I will say that generally speaking, my account is not a lucky pulling account, and I think it's consistent with the idea that the Mercy system has been in the game longer than patch 2.30, but we will never know for sure. What we will know, or what we do know, however, is that the next shard I pulled restarted our Mercy system counter. And it should be impossible to go more than 220 shards without getting another legendary. By coincidence, I've got 220 shards. I bought them in the gem shop, and I think we can make another run through the system and verify whether or not it happens. This is the part that I think is going to be interesting and exciting, to see whether or not I can beat the odds or if I end up in the Mercy system again. Let's get to it and let's see how the random number generator treats us. Here we go, second 10 pull. Corpulent Cadaver. Almost never used. Hellfang. Dupes of that. Slasher. A good piece of food. Cataphract. I don't think I've ever used Vogoth. I think he's a reskin of Corpulent Cadaver, but he's one of the new champions, so that's interesting to get him to play with. War Maiden. Always important to have, but a farmable champion. Blood Braid, only used by relatively new accounts. Fleshmonger. I'm actually sort of debating building him to use in my faction wars for that faction. Gladiator. Food, and another Cataphract. Not so awesome there. Number 3. Skull Crusher. I'm one of the people, I think that's like my 4th or 5th Skull Crusher. If I needed one, I'd be very happy to get that. Torture Helm. I've never used, but he's low in my build priority. Perforator, a dwarf I never use. Terror Beast, I think, is new for this account. He's not really viewed as a popular champion, but he certainly isn't someone that you like fighting in the second wave of Ice Golem level 20. And Mystic Hand. Another person you fight a lot that you don't like fighting. Courtier. Draglord, I had him for about 3 seconds and then used him in the High Elf fusion, so I guess it's good I have one to now play with. Flesh Terror. Not even used very much. Eris. I believe she's farmable. And then Shatterbones. Generally thought to have good turn meter control, but I don't actually ever use them for a whole lot. Then the next 10. Another marked. An an Executioner. That was my first level 60. The new Dwarf Reviver. I'm very happy about that. Dwarves are one of my weaker factions, so it's good to get her to go work. Tree Feller. Just use her for food. Wanderer. I believe if you don't have the Raz infusion, you'll need him. Master Butcher. A Dwarf Rare that doesn't get very much playtime. Another Eris. A Sorceress. A Ghoulish Ranger. And then a Cudgeler. I believe he was part of one of the relatively new fusions, but doesn't get a lot of playtime or billing. Next 10. Sorceress, Totem, Grandmaster. I think he's for the Raz infusion as well. Bogwalker. An A1 attack down champion. I used him for quite a while in Clan Boss and Apothecary. Crossbowman. Bone Knight. Anointed. And then an Ursine Ironhide. And I think this should be the last 10 before I have to go make some space. Hurler, Mave, Tiger Soul. I don't think I have any left over from the last fusion, so it might be nice to have one just in case. Defiled Sinner. Talia, I have her low in my build queue priority. Valerie, I could probably use her for some books. Skull Sworn. Doesn't really get a whole lot except for cheesing Lizardman Faction Wars. Lord of Brutebane. Don't think I've ever used him. Another War Maiden. And then a Fleshmonger. I will be right back as I clean up my vault and make some room. So I'm back from doing a little bit of vault cleanup. It has been 58 shards since the last legendary, 6 since the last epic, and I've got a space for now about another 50 more before I have to do that again. I think right now we are trending sort of exactly as probability would dictate. So here we go for another 10 pull. Judge, Hurler, got several of them, Acolyte, another Anointed. Ooh, a Seeker, that's nice. I have one of them, but I would like a second one in case I ever get a Bat Eater or some kind of unkillable comp. For Clan Boss, a Temptress, another Totem, it's like the 5th of them today, an Adjudicator. Lady Tessa, I think I have her, but she's not built, and then a Gore Mask. Probably a statistically neat 10 pool, but not really that interesting from the perspective of my account. Now another 10. Gladiator. Ooh, there we go. A Mashald. Very, very nice. That really makes this event. And it also means I'm going to have to go and do some math and figure out where I am in the stack of shards and how much I can do or not do in terms of testing the Mercy system before I run out of resources. So let me go do some tabulating and I will be right back. Alright, and I am back after that cleanup. I will say, looking at the sheet and doing a little bit of analysis, I have pulled 80 shards today on this video. It took me 70 shards to go between Yannicka and Mashald, so I can safely say we are running significantly ahead of expectations, and I am well into lucky pulls at this point. That said, I've got about another 150 shards. Let's see if we can beat the odds even more. Here we go. Second Apothecary. J2 Killer, she's pretty good, but I don't actually use her. Magus for the fusion. Baroth, the blood soaked. A Conqueror, farmable champion, another Anointed. I've had plenty of him today. Another Bogwalker, a Marquess, a Pounder, and a second Marquess in the same 10 pool. When you look at things at this level, it doesn't necessarily feel very random, but that's sort of the nature of the beast when it comes to how random number generators work. The next one's up. Skink, several of them today. Tree Feller, again, Spikehead, a Kale. Delver, I don't think I have. So that could be a nice pool right there. A second Sanctum Protector, Magma Blood. Oh, War Maiden. I've had several. A Siegebreaker. And then Elhain, who I think is actually very underrated as a starting champion, especially if you like doing the arena. She seems to excel there. Ooh. An Alaric the Hooded. He was from one of the relatively recent summons, Theurgist. Part of the Razin fusion, Wagonbane. I think that's one of the only rares I don't have. Happy to see that. A Lich. I think that's the second one today. Honor Guard. A Dwarf I never use. A second Spikehead. I've got a whole bag full of totems now. A Fencer. A third or fourth Marquess. And a Mother Superior. EOR. So I think we're performing pretty well. Totem again, Questor, a Death Chanter, a Seneschal, Apothecary, another Executioner, A Guardian. I think that might be new today. Ooh, a Nazana. I think another one I don't have. That is a good pull right here. A Hill Nomad. I think I read it doesn't have much play time. And a Rector Drath, one of the relatively new champions. I don't think super new, but relatively new. Good to have there. And I think we have 2 more left before I need to go clean up additional space. Flinger. Halberdier. Theurgist. Roughstone. From the relatively recent fusion, he might be the only one I have now. Ooh, a Mausoleum Mage. Someone I don't have, and I'm very happy to get just to help with dungeon runs. A Maiden. Don't think I've ever used her for anything. Grappler. I think he is part of a fusion. Templar. A farmable champion. War Priest. Who everyone gets relatively early. And then a Fencer. The dither button says I need to make some more space. I will be right back. Okay, and we are back after that cleanup. Just as a reference point, we have pulled 130 shards tonight. It's been 57 since my last legendary, that was the Mashald, and 5 since the last epic. I've got space for another 50 and 100 shards left, so I think one more cycle through, and then we will try to draw some early conclusions. Here we go, 10 pull. Acolyte. Tree Feller, Steel Bowyer. For apparently like a month she was awesome, but then she got nerfed into the ground. Ghoulish Ranger, a Cataphract, a Gravechill Killer, and her partner Frozen Banshee. A Cudgeler, a Twin Claw Disciple. This is what most of my pulls looked like before tonight. Of all rares, let's see if we can break that trend again and get something else cool. Bushi, yes, broke the trend. No, not cool. Another Questor, a Gnarlhorn, Madman, Lamellar, a Gallic, a Dunestrider, another Grandmaster, a Chaplain, and a Totem. So I will say, looking at my side sheet, it has now been 25 ancient shards since the last epic, which puts us into the epic version of the Mercy system. It's now a 10% chance for the next ancient shard we pull to be an epic. We'll see how far we go that way. Gator, Hurler, Delore, Lore Keeper, Totem, again, a Zilata, Channeler, Rocktooth, another Gloral Grouping, a Magus, I've gotten several of them tonight, and a Hospitaler. So looking at the Zilota, it did take us 29 shards between those two epics, which is really kind of unusually long, and the epic chance for that one was 18% before we pull it. Then I think this will be the last one before we have to do our final cleanup of the night. Muckstalker, Farmable, Wanderer, Mother Superior, a Hexweaver, a Gallic, Yaga, another Bogwalker, Orgrin Jailer, Slayer, and then a Perforator. Here we go. And another 10. Bloodbraid, Skullsworn, Maiden, War Priest, Greybeard, Torture Helm, Grandmaster, Galkut, Pig Sticker, another Frozen Banshee. So with that, I think I have to do one more cleanup for the evening, and I will be right back. So we are back for our last set of 50 pulls, and then I think just a moment or two to talk about early conclusions and maybe a preview of what will go in the last video. So here we go, shard number 181. It's been 108 since my last legendary. Wanderer, Greybeard, Flesh Eater, Spikehead, Temptress, Headsman, Goremask, Runic Warder, Stout Axeman, and a Wagonbane. Another 10 pool of all rares. Somewhat unusual given that we're in a ×2 chance. Pig Sticker, Tree Feller, Purgator, Hatchet, Slinger, Flesh Eater, another Cudgeler, Rotting Mage, a Necro Hunter, who I think I don't have because he was once part of a fusion. That might be someone I should get to use. An Ironclad and a Master Butcher. Next up, Templar, Slasher, Adjudicator, Grandmaster, Myrmidon, Beast, Wrestler, Greybeard, a Ripper, a Gravechill Killer, and a Roxanne. One of the very, very new champions that I think is going to be super cool and interesting to play with. So I will say at this point, Mercy System said I probably would have been guaranteed 2 legendaries in this pulling session. The fact that I now have a third puts me way, way, way ahead of average and well into the I am super lucky today zone. Conqueror, Sinesha, awesome. I don't have her. I'm glad I finally got her. She will go well in an Arena Blender comp. A Hex Weaver, another Gnarlhorn, an Organ Jailer, a Slayer, another Organ Jailer, a High Katoon, and a Perforator. I think this is the second to the last set of 10 pulls if my math is right. Let's hope we have some going out good luck. Mother Superior, Halberdier, Pounder, Juliana, Barath the Blood-Soaked, Grush, the Mangler, Hexweaver, Headsman, and Avir the Archmage. I don't think I have him. And he is generally, I think, thought to be a better rare. And that is either we are out of space or out of shards. Let me go check. Yes, so we are out of shards. So I think at this point, I personally think that the Mercy System was in a fair bit ahead of patch 2.13 just based on how early we got a legendary. I can't discount, however, the fact that I might have just gotten lucky there. And then we didn't actually get to invoke the Mercy system again after that because the other legendary pools I had would keep resetting our counter. But overall, I think there are probably some other conclusions I can draw and maybe some other insights I can get by looking at the data. Please stand by for that in the third video in my series. And if you would like to see that, or if you'd like to encourage me to make more videos like this, please subscribe. That's a good signal that you like to see more of what I do. With that, thank you all very much, Raiders. Ezron out.